Hello, everyone. Welcome to a new episode of Fiction in Real Life. I'm here with Heather Moore and Jennifer Moore, and I'm Julie Daines, and we have a special guest, Michelle Ratto, who I will introduce officially in just a second. But first of all, I wanted to welcome everyone again and announce our giveaway. This week, we are giving away a special limited edition, extremely exciting fiction in real life mug. Yes, we do have
Yes.
merch. And this mug, you guys, is so cute. So be sure and leave a comment or either here or on YouTube, and you'll be eligible to and be entered to win the mug. Okay. So we do have a special guest here today, and her name is Michelle Ratto, and she is the owner of a bookstore in Virginia called 1,000 Stories. And it's super cute. If you're East Coast, be sure and check it out when you're driving through Herndon, Virginia. Um, and even better than that, she is also my niece. So we're super excited to have her today. And she has a couple stories for us that we are going to enjoy, I'm sure.
Thank you. I do love owning a bookstore, but I love being your niece way more than owning a bookstore. So I think that's a great way to introduce it. Okay, so my first story actually involves Julie as well. And this was way back many years ago in 2010. And
How do you even remember the date?
I had to look it up. I looked it up using news stories and also my own photos, and I was able to find it. So at the time, I had a 3-year-old daughter and a almost 1-year-old son, and I was vacationing at our the cabin that my extended family owns in West Yellowstone, Montana, just outside of Yellowstone Park. And it's a lovely cabin. I was at the time the only one who had kind of that age little kids, and my husband, for some reason, I don't remember why, but he wasn't there. He was working or something happened where he couldn't be there. So I was in what we call the gables, which are the two little rooms above the garage, which is actually usually a great place because you can't hear kind of the noise from the rest of the house and stuff. So it was perfect for like mom, two little kids, can put them to bed. Everyone else can stay up late. Everything was great. But this particular year, there were 2 or 3, I don't remember, but it was 2 or 3 escaped inmates from a jail. And they weren't from a Montana jail, but they had worked their way up and were reported to be in the West Yellowstone area. So we sort of, as a family, been kind of joking about it. You're out in kind of a remote cabin and that you're just kind of chit-chatting and oh, that's so funny, until one night, I don't remember what time it was, but everyone was in bed, so it was probably after midnight at least. I woke up to a huge crash like below me in the garage. I was like, oh my gosh. And I did not, I mean, my rational self of course realized it's not the escaped convicts, like that's not what it is. But the like 1 a.m, side of me was like, what was that sound? That's not a good sound to have in your garage at 1 a.m. And I was up there all alone, just the kids slept through it. So I decided to go wake up someone to have them come help me. So I went down to the main area house and up the stairs, and the first room that I came to was Julie's room, actually. And so Julie and her husband were in there asleep, and I went in to wake them up, and they were just dead asleep. And I was like, I can't, like, I feel like I'll have to like dump water on them. So I went and I just felt so awkward anyways. So I went to the next room where my other uncle was asleep. And he was also pretty sound asleep. But at this point, I'm like, I need help. Like, it's got to be someone. So I'm waking him up, and I said, I just heard a really loud sound in the garage. And he said, it's probably a chipmunk. It's fine. And I was like, it wasn't, I know like the difference between what a sound a chipmunk would make and a sound like a really loud sound. I'm not afraid of chipmunks. So I was like, no, I don't think it was a chipmunk. I think we should go check it out. So he gets out of bed and we go downstairs and out to the garage. And he was in front of me, very nice. And as he opens the door to the garage, we see a black bear run from the garage, like to the outside. So what we learned was we got to be a little bit careful about shutting the garage door. I can't imagine why it was open. We didn't store cars in there or anything, and it was not the escaped convicts. So it all ended well. We shut the garage door and kept it shut from then on. I went back to bed. Everything was fine. And it wasn't
So was the bear stuck in there? Like the garage was closed and he had
No,
been in there when it got closed?
the garage door was open. So we left it open, and we had I mean, now I know for sure we keep everything in, like, you know, if you're in bear country, you have to keep it in like closed metal bin, like bear proof garbage bins. I assume it was trying to get at the garbage. I don't know if we'd had some. I know at one point, Julie, do you remember we used to like have it hanging, like there used to be like hooks we'd hang it up on. So I think we probably just hadn't properly stored the garbage and it was trying to get to it. So it was not trapped in there, and I assume would have gotten out on its own at some point, but it had like tipped a garbage can over or something, which is what made that big noise. So.
Wow. That is pretty spooky.
So many stories from that old cabin. It's hard to tell the story and get the full effect if you haven't actually seen the cabin. It's pretty janky, that old one.
It was. Yes, it wasn't like your most secure, you know, really safe cabin that you bolted up every night. Like you were kind of just trusting. I don't know that the doors had locks at all. So you were kind of just trusting everything would be fine, which was great until there was escaped criminals in town. And then it got a little scarier.
All right. Okay. Good story. Let's see. Heather, would you book it?
I would totally book it. I don't have my card with me, but I think that would be definitely kind of, I don't know if it would be called a red herring or what it would be called, but it's just like you're kind of, well, the character is believing one thing when it's something else. And so you have all that tension. And then the first couple of people are asleep and she can't wake up anybody in the house. And anyway, yeah, that definitely would be a fun scene to write.
Jen, how about you?
I would totally book it. That's perfect. It's like a perfect, just like Heather said, you know, like what do you call that? Like a detour in your story or something, like some kind of distraction. And it's so, I don't know, which is scarier to find in your garage, criminals or a bear? The bear sounds so scary. So
Jennifer has
really
bear phobia.
True bear phobia.
I was just happy it was not a chipmunk, because I was like, if it is some little tiny thing after this, I will never live it down. Like I will just be made fun of.
Right. Yeah, your reputation needed it to be at least a bear.
Yeah, I don't know what it's gonna be, but
yeah, great story.
I think I would totally book it as well. I think it's hilarious and I love the suspense. And then it just turns out to be, I mean, it's still something, but it wasn't the convicts, but oh, it's hilarious. It reminds me of a little while ago, Michelle, when you were at our new cabin and there was a gunman. Remember that? There was a gunman. They called it an active gunman in West Yellowstone.
Isn't everybody a gunman?
And it freaked Cole out, and we had to oh, it's clear over on the other side of Montana. Anyway, I don't know why there's so many escaped people, but
I don't know. Yeah.
Okay, good story. Good story. What's your second one?
All right, my second one. My second one is one that I like to tell. Well, it's more, it doesn't paint me in like a great light. It's kind of my embarrassing story. And also I like to use it as like an example of like the kindness of strangers. So I'll use it sometimes if it feels like, you know, everything's terrible, which kind of feels like the way we are right now in the world, like nothing will be okay. But when this happened to me, like this reminded me that there's still like such good people in the world. So this was also a long time ago. I couldn't even tell the story for years without crying, but I think I'm better now. At this time my daughter was 4 and my son was 2. So it was about a year after the last story. My life's been pretty boring for the last 10 years. So I really had to dig back in the archives there. But we had just said goodbye to some of our very good friends that were moving from Virginia to Utah, kind of an unexpected move. So we'd just gone over, they were staying with a friend, like as they packed up their apartment, and I'd taken my kids over there, and, you know, our cute little girls, like my little 4-year-old had given her little 3-year-old friend a hug goodbye. So I was just bawling and bawling. It felt like I was, you know, like, oh, this is the end of life and I'll never be okay again. So for reasons that I can't remember, I thought that would be a good time to go grocery shopping. I was like, I'll just go say goodbye to my really good friend, and then I'll just run to the grocery store with 2 little kids. And I don't enjoy grocery shopping like on a good day, let alone on a more kind of emotionally hard day. So it was really an ill-fated trip to start with, but How I tried to time it was the grocery store at the time had childcare, like free childcare for an hour where you could drop your kids off and run go shopping. So I was trying to time it kind of just right. But if you got there too late, it would fill up really quick. And I think, probably I took like an extra minute crying or something. And as I got there, like it just filled up. And I was like, oh, so then, then you're just like, why? So now, okay, it's fine. I've shopped with kids before. That's fine. So we get them in the cart. Everything's fine. We go to our first stop, which is the produce. And I don't even remember what, but something happened. One of them's acting up, because they're in the cart together side by side. And one of the kids does something to the other. And I just like had a full blown meltdown right there in the store. And I yelled something like truly yelled it. I would say yelled it, especially like in a public place. I just yelled, "This is the worst day ever." And I leaned my head down in the cart and was just like sobbing because of whatever had happened between the two kids. But obviously just because my friend was leaving. And
Right.
I just like stood there right in the middle of the store, just crying and crying, my little head down. And all of a sudden I just feel like a little pat on my shoulder. And it was a mom older than me, probably like maybe like just barely an empty nester. And she's like, "It's going to be okay." She's like, "It'll get better." And sometimes I like to buy a bottle of wine and open it in the parking lot. I'm like, "Oh, that sounds really good right now." Thank you. And so we just like, that was it. Like I can calm myself down. I remembered I was in the store. I apologized to the kids and we just finished shopping. And that was the end of the story. But it was just like, it was a relatively crowded store at the time. Like then I assume most people were like, "Oh boy, stay away from that crazy lady." But this one lady is just like, "Oh, she's just a mom having a real bad day and she needs a little comfort." And it's just her doing that was like, I mean, this was seriously, my daughter's 16 now. So this was 12 years ago. And I still think of it all the time. Like how big a difference that made. I got through my little shopping trip, but then it like helped me get through years to come, like knowing it's okay. We all fall apart sometimes and it's going to be okay. So that's the end of that, right?
That's a good story. I really liked it. Jennifer, would you book it?
Yes, I loved it. Because, that mom, I'm sure every mom has had that meltdown in the store. And if you haven't, then I don't even know what to say. Yeah, that
People
mom
are
knew.
really good at taking their little kids to grocery stores. I was not one of them. So
I love those stories where a stranger, just says just the right thing. When in novels, it happens all the time where someone just happens by and they say something and then it like turns everything around. That's one of my favorite little story tropes. Yep, I would book it. I love it.
Yeah, I think I would book it too. I think it's great. It would be, of course, the wonderful like meet cute for some kind of little rom-com or something.
I totally would.
And I don't know. I'm so impressed always by strangers who do stuff like that because I'm the kind of person that would be like, "Oh, they probably don't even want me to, look to go up to them right now. They're having their meltdown. They probably don't want help." I'm the kind of person that always thinks, "Oh, they don't want me to help. They don't need my help. They're fine without me. They wouldn't appreciate it." But, I don't necessarily think that that's the right way to think. You might as well check on them, right? Heather, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, I think I would book it too because I think it just shows that we don't know what someone else is going through. Like maybe their reaction or the incident, that's just a reaction to something, but obviously there's something deeper was going on with Michelle that day. And so we don't know. We might see someone misbehave or someone break down or crying and just saying, "Hey, can I help you?" or just patting them on the back. That might be like the only thing, that kind of carries them through the rest of the day. So I love that. I love that just because it puts things into perspective and it'd be a good characterization tool to write a character that would go around and that would do that and wouldn't like hesitate. Because I am probably one that might be like, "Oh, I don't know. I probably just watch the situation. And if there's no one else helping, then I would maybe, go do it." But it'd be fun to have a character that's kind of their first instinct is just to go up and help someone.
Yeah, and I really like how you said that it helped you through your shopping trip, and that it has also helped you through a lot of life since then, just thinking back to that one incident. And, from a story perspective, that kind of mentor moment that can change a character around is, something that is valuable, I think, in storytelling. So it's a good story. It's a good story. All right. Well, thanks everyone for joining us today. Don't forget to comment either here or on YouTube to be entered to win the mug. We usually keep the giveaways open for about a week and then pick a winner. Don't forget also to like and subscribe if you go to YouTube. That would really help us out a lot. And we are very excited to hopefully get your stories about the upcoming holidays. The holidays are coming up. If you've got a funny Halloween story, not Halloween, Thanksgiving or Christmas story or something, we would love to hear them so we can have some fun holiday-based episodes. So anyway, thanks again for joining us, and we'll see you next time on Fiction in
Real
Life.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Yeah.